I think you're my ex's new heart partner.
My name is Marcus. I'm 28. I work in tech. Nothing glamorous, just middle management. And I've been on every dating app known to mankind. I'm not particularly photogenic. I'm not wealthy. And I've got that specific kind of awkwardness that comes from spending too much time alone with a computer. But I keep trying. That's the thing about being an optimist with mild social anxiety. You keep showing up, hoping that eventually someone will see something worth staying for. This is a story of when someone did, just not in the way I expected. It was a Tuesday night. Unremarkable. I just finished a disappointing dinner of reheated Chinese food and was scrolling through Zenith, this dating app I'd been on for maybe 3 weeks, when I saw her profile. Sarah, 26. The photos were candid, not carefully curated like most people's. She was sitting on a bench in what looked like autumn light, laughing at something off camera. In another shot, she was at a museum, looking genuinely interested in a painting. Her bio was funny, recovering corporate robot trying to remember what joy feels like. Dog mom, terrible at texting back, but I'll remember your birthday. I'm not usually the type to swipe immediately, but I did, and I matched with her. The little dopamine hit was instantaneous, you know? That flutter of possibility. I waited maybe 30 minutes before messaging her. I didn't want to seem desperate, but I also didn't want to seem uninterested. The balance of modern dating is exhausting. I wrote something simple. That autumn photo is perfect. Where was that taken? 3 hours later, she responded. My phone buzzed at 11:47 p.m. I still remember the exact words. Not because they were romantic, because they were the opposite of what I expected. My hands actually went cold when I read them. Hi, I need to ask you something. Have you dated anyone in the last 6 months? Specifically someone named Jordan. My stomach did this weird flip. Not the good kind. The kind you get when something feels wrong. I read it 3 more times, trying to understand what I was missing. I messaged back immediately. No? Why? The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Whatever she was writing, she was deleting it. I sat there in my apartment, still in my work clothes, just waiting. Okay, this is going to sound insane, but I matched with you because I recognize you from someone's Instagram. My ex, Daniel, he has a new girlfriend, and you match the description is posted about. I just needed to be sure you weren't him. Catfishing or something. Sorry, that's weird. I didn't know whether to laugh or be concerned. I read it twice. Then I did something stupid. I Googled myself. Nothing came up except my LinkedIn. I had maybe 200 Instagram followers, and most of them were people from high school who I never talked to. I typed, I promise I'm not your ex. Or a catfish. I think, how would I prove that? You can't. But the way you said, I promise, makes me think you're not lying. People who lie don't add question marks to absurdity. Can I call you? My heart rate picked up. People don't usually ask to call. Not immediately. Not on dating apps. But I wanted to hear her voice. I wanted to understand why she was asking these questions and why, despite the weirdness of it all, she felt like someone I needed to know. I called her. There was maybe 5 seconds of silence when she picked up. Hi. Sorry. I'm nervous. Her voice was nothing like I expected. Softer. More uncertain. Real. It's okay, I said. You can explain the ex situation. I'm genuinely confused, but I'm here. She laughed a little. It was shaky. Okay, so, my ex, Daniel, we broke up 4 months ago. He was a lot. Really controlling. Really into social media. After we broke up, he started posting these cryptic things about his new life and about meeting someone amazing. And then, she paused. He posted this photo of someone at a coffee shop. Just the back of their head, but I could see your profile picture reflected in the window behind him, and your face matched enough of what I could see that it freaked me out. So you matched with me to confirm I wasn't him. Yes, and also to warn you if you were dating him. I don't know. It seemed important in my head. She was talking faster now, the nervousness bleeding through. But then I matched with you and you seemed Nice. And now I'm calling you and you're not running away, which is weird, and I'm apologizing for the 10th time in my head. I smiled despite myself. You're not apologizing out loud yet. Give it time. Oh, I will, she said, and I could hear the relief in her voice. But also, that photo thing. You're not him. I can tell just by how you're talking. Daniel wouldn't have let me ramble. He would have made this about how crazy I am. Do you need me to let you ramble? I asked quietly. There was another silence. The kind that feels heavy, but not bad. Important. Maybe. Yeah, I think I might. So I listened. For the next 4 to 5 minutes, Sarah told me about Daniel, about how charming he was at first, how slowly controlling he became, how she'd started deleting apps and friends and pieces of herself because it was easier than fighting him on it, how she'd finally left when she realized she couldn't remember what she actually wanted anymore, how the app matching was partly some weird anxiety tic, making sure the world was safe, and partly, she admitted quietly, her therapist had suggested she use the apps to meet people and practice being vulnerable again. I wasn't expecting it to be with someone named Marcus who actually listens, she said. I'm good at listening. It's my whole thing. I don't know how to leave conversations, so I just stay. She laughed. A real one. That's either endearing or concerning. Both, I said. Definitely both. When we finally hung up, it was nearly 1 a.m. She had to work at 7. I had to sleep at some point. But neither of us wanted to be the first to say goodbye. Can I text you tomorrow? She asked. Please, I said. The next 3 days were a lesson in patience. Sarah was true to her word about being terrible at texting back. She'd message me in the morning, and I wouldn't hear from her until evening. But when she did, the messages were long, thoughtful. She'd tell me about her day, ask me questions that made me actually think about my life, not just surface stuff, but real things. What's something you're scared of that you've never told anyone? She asked on Thursday night. I sat with that for a while. I was driving home from work, stopped at a red light, thinking about what's actually true about me, that I'm not interesting enough, that I'm just adequate, that someone will eventually realize they settled. What about you? Same thing, but also that I'll go back to someone like Daniel, that I'm the kind of person who makes that choice, that the damage is permanent. I wanted to call her right then, but I didn't. I knew she was at work. So instead I texted, You're not damaged. You're someone who survived something hard and came out the other side. That's not weakness. She didn't respond for 2 hours. Then, Can I see you this weekend? My answer was immediate, yes. Saturday morning. There's something vulnerable about meeting someone from a dating app in person. All the curated photos and careful words fall away. You're just there, exposed. I chose a coffee shop called The Roost. Nothing fancy, but good coffee in a quiet corner. Sarah was already there when I arrived, sitting by the window with 2 cups, both untouched. She looked up and smiled, and it was different than her photos. Not worse, just real. She had freckles I hadn't noticed before. She was biting her lip a little. Hi, she said. Hi yourself. I sat down across from her, and for a moment we just looked at each other. It wasn't awkward. It was like we were both cataloging details, things you can't quite pick up through a screen. You're taller than I expected, she said. You're cooler in person than you seem. That's because I'm terrified, she laughed. This is the first time I've done this since Daniel. Gone on a date. Existed in the world as a person someone might want to date. How's it going so far? Ask me again in 5 minutes, she said. We talked for 2 hours. Real talk, not the rehearsed first date conversation. She told me about her actual job, corporate strategy, which she hated, but it paid well enough that she could afford her apartment and her dog, Pepper. I told her about my mom, who kept calling asking if I'd met someone nice yet, and how I'd never quite known how to explain that meeting someone nice was the easy part. Knowing what to do with it was harder. There was a moment, about 90 minutes in, where her hand was resting on the table between us. I wanted to hold it, but I didn't. I just looked at it, and she noticed, and she smiled, and then she moved her hand closer. Not quite touching, but close. I'm going to be honest, Sarah said quietly. I have this voice in my head that's telling me this is too fast, that something's wrong, that I'm making a mistake. Is that the Daniel voice? I asked. Maybe. Probably. She looked up at me. But there's another voice that's just happy, and I want to listen to that one for a while. Then listen to that one, I said. I'll listen to it with you. What happened after wasn't dramatic. It was better than dramatic. It was real. We started seeing each other every other weekend. Sometimes we'd go to museums or grab dinner. Mostly we'd just sit somewhere and talk. She'd tell me about her therapy, about how she was learning to make decisions based on what she wanted, not what she thought she should want. I told her about my family stuff, the anxiety I'd never dealt with properly, the ways I'd hidden from the world by staying busy. 3 weeks in, I met Pepper, Sarah's dog, a golden retriever with more confidence than either of us. She jumped right up on me, and Sarah was mortified, and I was completely charmed. I'm so sorry, Sarah said, pulling Pepper down. No, this is perfect. She's perfect. You're perfect. We're not perfect, Sarah said, but she was smiling. A month in, I invited her to a work thing. She was nervous about it. I was more nervous, but she looked beautiful in this navy dress, and when people asked how we met, neither of us told the actual story. We just said it was a dating app and left it at that. Later, driving back to her place, she reached over and held my hand. Just like that. Naturally. I'm glad you didn't run away after the Daniel message, she said. I'm glad you didn't let me run away, I replied. 6 weeks in, we were sitting in my apartment on a Friday night, watching some terrible reality show neither of us cared about, and she said, Can I tell you something? Always. I love you. I turned to look at her. She was serious. I know it's early, she continued, and my therapist will probably have things to say about the timing. But I know. I'm not scared anymore. I pulled her closer. I love you too, I said. I think I've loved you since you sent me that insane first message. She laughed against my shoulder. That's the worst reason to love someone. Probably, I agreed, but also the most honest. That was 8 months ago. We're still together. Sarah's therapist approves, mostly. My mom is thrilled. Pepper is happy as long as she gets attention equally from both of us. We're not perfect. We fight about dishes and life plans and why I'm the world's worst at keeping plants alive. But that's not the point. The point is this. Sometimes the worst first message becomes the best story. Sometimes the scariest thing leads to the safest place. Sometimes you meet someone broken and realize you're broken in just the right ways to fix each other. Or not fix. Just exist together. Honestly. Vulnerably. Real. Sarah's in the kitchen right now, making breakfast, despite the fact that I do most of the cooking. She's probably burning the toast. But she's singing, and Pepper's underfoot waiting for scraps, and I'm sitting here thinking about how grateful I am that she didn't let fear stop her from reaching out. That she sent that message. That I answered. That we both showed up. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more heartfelt tales, and drop a comment letting us know where you're listening from. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Thanks for being part of the Unscripted Hearts community.